Welcome back, guys, to another HG00 kit review. Here today we're going to be taking a look at the first of two different variants of the O Gundam. This would be the Type A.C.D version of that. It's basically just the 00 interpretation of a design that's basically the RX-78-2 Gundam from the original Gundam series. So for that reason alone, I've always thought that this was a really interesting design, just seeing a different take on the Granddaddy Gundam, basically. And although it's cool to see in the original tricolor scheme here, I do think that this version is probably going to be a little bit more exciting with the whole effect part and everything. But first, let's go ahead and look at this one because this one actually came out first. Now before we get into the review and talking about this, and then the next review talking about the other version of this, I just want to say I don't remember enough about the story of 00 to talk much about the origin of this Gundam. I know it was in the series briefly at I think a couple points, but basically just know that as usual I'm not here to talk about the lore or the background of different mobile suits and stuff. Only going to focus on the kit, and in this case, starting off with the box at least, it is a very cool box art there on the front, obviously very recognizable with looking like the original Granddaddy Gundam, but obviously with the 00 styling going on with it. On the side of the box you can see this is number 45 in the line, and this kit came out in 2009. On the bottom of the box we got some more details showing the GN drive and the mode change between the GN drive and the GN something tank? I don't know, anyway, GN tank I guess, and if it doesn't have the drive, so you can change that. Some other images over here showing off how it can actually recreate some of the poses from the anime, so it's got stills from the anime and then showing how the kit can recreate those with this beautiful articulation that it has, and the articulation does look very nice. Of course it's a very simple design, but the articulation looks fantastic with this kit, so I think it's going to be a really fun kit to play around with and pose. So it's just a lot of images here highlighting bits about the articulation of this, which is all good and well. Over here we got to look at what the kit is going to look like straight out of the box. Obviously that plain white is going to be looking a little bit boring without doing any, at least a little bit of panel lining or something, throwing some top coat on it maybe. But going around to the top of the box, we'll show you a painted sample, what that looks like just standing there, and then another reference image there with some more information. Unfortunately, still all in Japanese. And the list price for this, 1,200 yen, which is the same as the ground type Tyrann. As you can see, it's in the same kind of quite thin box. I'm guessing we're only going to have a couple of runners in here, which is to be expected. Once again, very simple design, should be a pretty simple kit, but I am expecting it to be a very fun and effective kit nonetheless. So once again, on the top of the menu here we have the box art recreated with the kit, which is always cool to see. We got a very derpy looking illustration there, as we got some information about the mobile suit and the pilot down here, again just all in Japanese. Going around here to the back, it's just the construction, but on the inside here we got some more information about all of the weapons and everything. Gundam 00 second season against the Exio Repair 2, so of course you can recreate this. No stand included, but they did come out with those clear bluish green like sparkly HG stands that you could get for these kits, which look very nice on the 00 kits of course. We got some more posed images and things like that, basically what we saw on the outside of the box. Then at the bottom there is the color guide for if you were going to be painting the kit, you want to match the colors, but it's pretty much your standard Gundam tricolor scheme. There is the parts list, and the rest of this is just the construction. The back side page here in color is just finishing up the construction and how to mount the kit and all that. So let's check out the runners. And look at this very tiny sticker sheet here, just the one for the eyes and then one for like the GN condenser or whatever there, and so very minimal for the foil stickers. That's always nice to see. Polycap runner is a little bit more extensive, as we have the PC001 polycap runner here in standard gray, but I'm sure we won't be using all of these. Then in clear pink we've got runner SB9 for our beam saber effect parts. These are the standard, like a little bit more kind of rectangular shaped beam saber effect parts common for the HG00 kits. Runner A is a nice big 4-color runner here. We got one clear part up there at the top, a couple of yellow bits down here, some red over there on the side, and then a bunch of just medium gray for joint parts and things like that in the center. Runner B is going to be all of our white parts on there, including our little V-fin, which looks like a kind of separate piece, which may be different for other versions of the kit. So you can see how this like segment of the runner is kind of segmented off or something. Anyway, or this part is segmented off. Anyway, so we might see that omitted with the next version we take a look at. And lastly, runner C is just a couple of parts here in blue. But there you have it, guys. I'm really anxious to get this together to see how it compares to something like the Revive HG00 kit, just because I think just like on a surface level they look very similar in terms of like just the quality of the build, in terms of like the lack of seams and articulation, all that. But we'll see just how well they compare in the review portion. But for now, I'll go ahead and get it all put together, and then we'll see how it looks. Alright guys, so here is the kit all built up, and it is incredibly simple of a kit. That said, I think there is going to be some really nice posing available with this kit, which is very nice. While the price tag of this kit certainly is appealing, and for those of you guys who kind of like the general aesthetic of the original RX-78-2 Gundam, this is a very interesting take on that, but I feel like the simplicity of this kit is going to make it hard for people. I mean, no matter how cheap it is, it's going to be hard to justify wanting to pick up a kit like this, so simple one, when there's a lot more other exciting kits that you have available to you as options. That said, I think this is still a very cool kit, and let's go ahead and check it out. So let's go ahead and take a closer look here. For the stickers, you got the one there for the eyes, and you got the one up inside the GN condenser here on the front of the chest, which is hardly noticeable, but there is a sticker up inside of there. For the articulation, head will go up to there, which is very nice. It's just the same polycap double ball joint in there, so pretty simple, but you got a nice range of movement there with that. Interestingly, no sticker for the head camera there, and there's a camera there on the back of the head, so you don't have stickers for those. That's kind of odd. But here in the stomach section, we have a pretty good bend forward and back. Side to side, you got a little bit of bend there, not all that much, but then just some standard rotation. Going around here to the back, I opted for this version of the backpack, but of course you do have just the standard GN drive version if you prefer that. This mounted part here for the beam saber handle, that's just on like a ball joint, but not a polycap, it's just kind of on just like this plastic on plastic ball joint there, which is a little bit tight, and I would be very nervous about breaking that off, so be careful when you're moving that around. I just basically would not recommend moving it around. It does leave, I mean, it looks kind of weird how it like doesn't like fit flush like with the design. It just kind of looks kind of tacked on to the side there, and it's just like a very oddly shaped piece, and it has a little hollow gap in there. I don't necessarily really like it. It doesn't really fit with the design that well. I mean, it fits with the RX-78-2 aesthetic. You kind of have to have the beam saber on the backpack, but it's kind of a strange fit there. Anyway, that's your beam saber handle for your beam saber effect parts, which we'll see here in just a second. The shoulder is the type of polycap which will swing to the front, but it actually doesn't move all that much far to the front because it's kind of blocked by just hitting the chest there right away. Upward movement of the arm, it will come up to about there because it's just a ball and socket polycap ball joint there, so you're not going to be able to bring the arm up any further than that. Otherwise the arm's going to work pretty standardly. Rotation there in the bicep. You got a nice double joint in the elbow, which does give you a good bend there, but you have a seam line through the top half of the forearm. So this lower half of the forearm is just a solid piece, but the top half of the forearm, you do have a seam line down the front and back of that, a little bit there on the front. The front skirts are molded together, but you can snip them apart to move separately, and those will move up plenty far there. Those shouldn't be getting in the way of the legs. The side skirts are just on little ball joints, the little polycap ball joints there, so you can move those up and around everywhere. The back skirts don't move, but this back little center section there does move. You can slide that open like that for plugging this onto a action base there onto the back side. Alternatively, you can plug this onto an action base just normally underneath the legs here. Just remove that cap and you can plug your action base into right there. While we're here, this hip joint will swing side to side, also rotate left to right like that, the whole hip section there. You can bring the leg all the way out to about 90 degrees and then forward plenty far there as well. No problems with that. Nice double joint here in the knee, giving you pretty much a full 180 degree bend there. No separation of the knee armor though, and you do have a little bit of a seam line here on the back side, not on the front, but just on the back, which unfortunately goes right through those details on the back leg. So that's going to be kind of a pain in the ass. Kind of a seam line here on the side of the leg too, if you want to treat it like one. Honestly, I would want to get rid of that if it's me, because then you have like this other panel line detail that's kind of going through the opposite direction, which seems like the proper like panel line. And then if you were to turn that into a panel line as well, it'd be kind of a weird crossing of panel lines that just kind of doesn't really look good. So I would go ahead and count that as a seam line as well. The ankle armor is actually attached into the ankle joint there, so you have a little bit of movement with that, but not really a whole lot. There's not much space for that to move there. Otherwise, the ankles will move side to side, no problem there. No toe bend, as the foot is just all one piece, but you can move that all the way up forward to there, all the way back to there, so really good forward and back range of movement there with that. And then up underneath the feet, mostly detailed, but you do have a little bit of hollow gap in there on the bottom of the feet. So overall, pretty nice articulation. Now, as I said, we do have our beam saber effect parts. You have two, but you only need one, so you'll have a spare. And then we have the beam rifle and a shield. They're both very simple, so not too much to say about these. The beam rifle is going to have a seam line on the top of that. The shield, no seam lines here, obviously, and some nice color separation, so it's actually a pretty nice accessory here. Painting that's going to be easy enough. The backside has like this kind of hollow gap around the edges, but honestly, I don't mind that too much. And then that would just make masking and painting the center section like a gray color would be pretty easy to do. And you have a handle handle, which just plugs onto there. You have some rotation with that, but that's basically all that's going to do. It's on a ball joint, but you can't really change the angle of it. Oh, I guess you can a little bit more than I expected. So you can kind of change the angle of that as just on a ball joint, but it's just going to attach onto the side of the arm and then just be held in the hand, because these holding hands are the only hand option parts that we have with the kit. So the accessories are very easy to just place into the hands. And let's see, the rifle looks not super solid. It's a little bit wiggly in the hand. It's not like a perfect fit, but because it's so small, I don't really expect it to be that much of an issue. For a comparison to the entry grade RX-78-2, just so you guys can see the two kind of designs side by side, obviously the color is going to be very similar. The entry grade in this case is in the kind of slightly greenish white, where the O Gundam here is in a more pure white color. But it is really cool to see this 00 styled version of the RX-78-2 in this very sleek design. I really like it quite a bit. Alright guys, as you can see, while the accessories are bare bones, they are keeping in line with the RX-78-2 theme, just beam saber, beam rifle, and shield. That's it. It would be cool if they had like some sort of GN bazooka in there, as well as like a stand-in for the Gundam's hyper bazooka, but obviously this kit would be compatible with other kits in the line. So if you had something like the Astrea or the Astrea F-type that comes with loads of weapons, one of those HG kits, and then you've had plenty of weapons to spare, then you could give one of them, including the Gundam hammer type weapon that the Astrea F-type has. You could give that to this if you wanted to give it like a Gundam 00 style Gundam hammer sort of weapon. But anyway, despite it being a very simple kit, it's a really fun kit to work with and really great kit for posing. The articulation is really nice, considering this kit is now more than 10 years old. It's got great articulation for an HG of the time, even like for modern times. If this HG were to come out like as just a brand new kit these days, honestly, I don't know how they would really make it better. It would be nice if maybe they molded the legs, for example, in a way that they didn't have a seam line so much on the legs. But honestly, realistically speaking, there's not a lot of room for improvement with this kit for it being an HG and at that price point. I can understand how some people might want a little bit more surface detail, but honestly, the amount of detail that you have on this kit, while it is very minimal, I think it totally fits with it just being a pretty simple HG kit. But obviously there's plenty of room to add more detail onto there if you want to scribe or just add little bits of detail and things like that. I think there's some nice room where you could definitely do that. Adding a few little bits here and there, I think, would definitely make this look even nicer, sure. But let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you have this kit? Has it been one that you've wanted to pick up for a while? Or is it only now after seeing this review that you're now interested in picking up the kit? Let me know down in the comment section below. And of course, if you're looking for some high grade kits or any other Gunpla kits, you can check out the link and the coupon code to USA Gundam store down in the video description below. As always, a big thank you to them for making this review possible. And thank you to you guys for all of your support, liking the video, commenting, subscribing. All that's greatly appreciated as well. So until next time guys, I hope you're all having a great day. I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.